Hello and welcome everyone to this session of this class. Here we'll continue with the lesson number 2, that is the physical features of India, class 9 CBSE book for geography. So here we'll continue. Last we have discussed up till the northern plain. Here we'll go to the next, that is the peninsular plateau. So the peninsular plateau is the part of India that is towards the southern part of India, that is the peninsular part of India. So it is a very oldest landmass. We have already discussed about the Gondwana land. So it was the part of the Gondwana land. Later on, it drifted towards south, but later on when it drifted towards north and taken the present position where we can see it at present. So about the division of this Deccan Plateau or the Peninsular Plateau, there are two broad divisions. So the northern part from river Narmada towards the north, if you see, this is known as Central Highland, and from river Narmada towards the south, this part is known as the Deccan Plateau. So first, if you see the divisions of Central Highland, so towards the north there is Aravalli range or Aravalli hills, if you can say. Then towards the south it is the Vindhyan range. These two ranges are found. Then this Central Highlands, when it extends towards east, so its eastward extension is the Bundelkhand, this is one plateau. Then Baghelkhand, it is one more plateau. Then the Chota Nagpur plateau. These are the divisions of the Central Highland. So this Central Highland is towards, when it goes further north, then it goes towards the Rajasthan, that is Deccan, Thar deserts of Rajasthan. Then towards this side it is little bit high, its height is more, and towards this side the height becomes less, comparatively less. Then about the Deccan Plateau, from Narmada towards the south, this part is known as Deccan Plateau. So it is demarcated by the Narmada river. Beside that, the northern part is Satpura range, one hill is there, Satpura range. Then towards eastern flank is made up of three different hills, that is Mahadev, Maikur and Maikal. Three different ranges or three different small hills are there. Then it's Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat. These are two mountains that is towards the periphery of India, you can say. So these are the boundary. The westward boundary is Western Ghat, eastward boundary is Eastern Ghat. These are the boundary of this Deccan Plateau. So this Deccan Plateau, when it moves towards or when it extends towards this one eastern or northeast India, there are different plateau that is called North Kachar Hills, then Karbi Anglong Plateau. These are the important plateaus that is the extension of this Deccan Plateau towards northeast. So there is a small gap, that is Damodar gap, which separates this and the northeastern plateau. So in this Eastern Ghat and Western Ghat, this Western Ghat is comparatively abrupt and higher in range. Its height is more, and Western Ghat is comparatively discontinued. This is all continued and this is discontinued, and height is also very less. So the distance between the coastline and the Western Ghat is more, Eastern Ghat is more, and the distance between the coastline and the Western Ghat is less. So here is a very big delta, but here the delta is very less because its height is it is more higher, or it is higher than the Eastern Ghat. So here there are many high peaks are there, that is like Doda Beta, then Annamudi. Then the only high peak in the Eastern Ghat is Mahendragiri. So apart from this, there are also many coal stations, you can say, like Uti. So there are other coal stations also that you should find out from the book, which is very good for traveling from one place to people. They used to travel for tourists, they used to travel for refreshment and recreation. So the most important features of this Deccan Plateau is the availability of black soil. So this black soil has been formed by some volcanic eruption in the very past. This volcanic eruption when took place and it was accumulated and settled down there, black soil has been formed due to continuous formation of different rivers or residual work of different rivers. The black soil has been formed, and this black soil is also good for growing of cotton, so it is also known as black cotton soil. So this black soil stretch is very good for development of agriculture like cotton, and it is good for minerals also. Many different kinds of minerals are also found in this part, that is in Deccan Plateau. So let us come to the next physical feature, that is the Indian desert. So the Indian desert is located towards the northwestern part of India, that is in the whole of it is in Rajasthan, and some part is found in Gujarat also. So here this part, it is the Thar desert, it is known as the Thar desert of India. So this Thar desert is a totally big sandy land. It is totally covered of sand and arid region. The climate is arid, that is no rainfall and totally dry. So the annual rainfall that is in Thar desert is around 150 millimeter. 150 millimeter is very less. So normally in areas where there is normal rainfall, there is around 100 centimeter of rainfall. There are also areas where there is 200 centimeter of rainfall, and here it is just 150 millimeter. In comparison to that, how less it is here. So apart from this, there are very small streams which grow during the time of rainfall. They used to flow up till some certain distance and they dry up there only. So there is no big river or big stream found in this Thar desert. So Luni is the only river that is found in the Thar desert. It is the only river that is present in Thar desert. Apart from this, a very important characteristic that is found in the Thar desert is the Barchans. What is Barchan? Barchan is the local name given to the sand dune. Sand dune, a big like mountain of sand that is found in the desert area. You can see a mountain of sand that is found in the desert area. This sand dune, they used to move with the air. If the air blows from this side, then the upper top layer of the soil is taken away and put into somewhere else. Again air blows the next layer, then next layer. As a result, the sand dune move from here to the other portion. Again air if blow from that side, then again it will start from that side, it will come to this side. And due to this sand dune also, the periphery of the desert increase. As a result, if the periphery was here, now because of the sand dune air, the sand dune has crossed the periphery of the desert also have become more. So this Barchan is the local name given to this sand dune. So this sand dune or this Barchan is one of the important characteristics that is found in the Thar desert. So people may, or you may move to somewhere in the city of Jaisalmer and all, which are very near to the Thar desert. Then you can see all the features that is found, the cactus and the Barchans that are found in the Thar desert. Let us come to the next physical feature, that is the coastal plain. So the coastal plain, when you use the word coastal, it means the area near the sea or a ocean. So both sides of India there are two sea, that is this side it is Arabian Sea and this side Bay of Bengal. So the area near this both the sea is known as coastal plain. So the area near the Arabian Sea is known as western coastal plain, and the area near the coast that is near to the Bay of Bengal is known as eastern coastal plain of India. So from here to here this part is western coastal plain, and from here to here this part is eastern coastal plain. So this both eastern coastal plain and western coastal plain are divided into two many divisions. First, the area from the coast to up till the eastern Ghat, that is known as this is the western coastal plain, and the area from eastern Ghat, sorry, this is western Ghat, this is eastern Ghat to the coast is known as eastern coastal plain. So this western coastal plain is narrow, it is very narrow. From the mountain towards the coast up till the coast, the distance is very less, it is narrow. But the eastern coastal plain is very wide. So here is delta, a huge delta is there, but here there is no delta, and it is steep also, very steep. So this western coastal plain has been divided into three divisions. From the northern part is known as the Konkan. It is in Mumbai, Goa. This part it is known as the Konkan, and the middle part, the part that is towards the south of Konkan, is known as Kannad Plain. This is known as Kannad Plain, and the part that is towards the southern part of the this coastal plain is known as Malabar Coast. So these are the three divisions of the western coastal plain, and the eastern coastal plain is also divided into two distinct divisions. That is, the northern part is known as the northern Krikar, and the southern part is known as the Coromandel Coast. So this is the two division of the northern coastal plain, western coastal plain. So a important feature that is found in the northern Krikar or in the eastern coastal plain is the Lake Chilika. Lake Chilika is an important feature that is found there, that is in Orissa. Why it is important? Because this is the only saltwater lake that is found in India, and the largest saltwater lake. So these were the divisions of coastal plains of India. So let us move to the next topic. That apart from the mainland of India, this is the mainland of India, two island groups are also there which come under the administrative territory of India. So in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, these two islands are there. In the Arabian Sea, the Lakshadweep is there, and in the Bay of Bengal, the Andaman and Nicobar Island is there. So this both Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Island comes under Indian territory. So the characteristics of this both islands are a bit different. These are scattered small island of many islands collectively this form, and these are little bit comparatively bigger elongated island. It is believed that this island is the extension of some mountain. So comparative study if you do for both these island groups, then this Lakshadweep island is made up of coral polyps or coral accumulation. Now what is coral polyp or coral accumulation? Corals are small microscopic organisms, or you can say small organisms which secrete lime, which give out lime or vomit, you can say vomit lime. So when they stay in colonies and in fresh water, in any freshwater region, they stay in colonies in many huge amount. They used to stay every day. They used to go on secreting lime, giving out lime, and the lime used to accumulate in a particular position. When it goes on accumulating, then ultimately it sometimes create a big island or a big barrier reef, a Great Barrier Reef of Australia, if you see, that is made up of the coral polyps. So this Lakshadweep is also made up of such small coral polyps by secreting lime. These coral polyps are actually very beautiful organism. You can see in your internet, in your mobile if you want. So it is made up of these coral polyps, and these islands are the extended mountain. So some mountain ranges that has been submerged underwater, because this is the sea. Here this part it is sea. So it is submerged underwater. So only this portion is only above water. So this portion has been presented as an island. So this Andaman and Nicobar is the extended mountain, and this is very small in size, only 32 square kilometer, very small in size, this Lakshadweep. But Andaman and Nicobar is comparatively bigger than Lakshadweep. It is comparatively bigger in area. So Andaman Nicobar, here there are 30 many small islands. Here there are two broad divisions. The northern part is known as Andaman, the southern part is known as Nicobar. So these two broad islands. Apart from this, there are small islands also, but very two major or broad or big islands. So two important features found in both these islands is in Lakshadweep, Pitts Island. This is only one uninhabited island. So here there is a bird sanctuary, a beautiful bird sanctuary. Next, here this is Barren Island, the only active volcano that in India. It is found in Barren Island of Andaman and Nicobar. So here Karavati Island is the administrative headquarters of this Andaman and Nicobar. So this is about the island groups. So as a result, if you study all the physical features, or if we see the importance of all the physical features, all the physical features are complementary to each other. All the physical features are important. The very first, that is mountain. Mountain gives swift flowing rivers to the other parts. So from that mountain, water is observed. With the help of developed technology, hydroelectric power is obtained from those swift flowing rivers, and for agricultural purpose, water is got from them. So the mountainous region also provide forest, then a place for wildlife. So the northern plain, second is northern plain. Northern plain is very good for cultivation of crops. Apart from that, huge amount of population also is found in the northern plain, because it is a plain area. Agriculture is done, then industrial development also there, transportation is also very good in those northern plain. So the plateau region is very good. A huge amount of black soil is found, which is good for cultivation of cotton. This is first. Second, it is very rich in mineral resources, which provide the whole country with huge amount of minerals, which is the basis for development of different kind of industries that we find around us. So the coastal plains, it is a good area for fishing ground first. Secondly, it is good for transportation of goods and commodities from one country to another country through ship, because ship is the water transport is the most cheapest means of transport, which is good for business. Then these islands are good for giving huge amount of you can say ecosystem or ecological balance, to maintain the ecological balance, where there are huge amount of forest, huge amount of wild animals are found. So the ecological balance is maintained. So as a whole, if you see, all the physical features are complementary or supporting each other. It is not that one physical feature is important, other is not important. It is not like that.